Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, welcome to another fantastic and fabulous, all black wearing Ask an Engineer. We're here and we're very fashionable and we're a little bit late. No, actually we're on time, perfectly on time.
Yeah.
Which is like the new fashionably late. We've got an exciting show. We're broadcasting live from our downtown Manhattan factory, as you can see here.
That's right.
It's a lovely factory full of bubble wrap.
Lots of bubble wrap.
Lots of bubble wrap. I'm Lady Ada, the engineer. Phil and camera control.
That's right.
And also this lovely lower third thing.
Yeah.
Which is now gone.
Yep.
So I sound silly. But tell them what's on tonight's show.
On tonight's show, things from the show and tell. Every week we have people on and they show their projects. Some news in the world of Arduino. We'll have Packet the Mailbag, letters from customers, community, and more. Some news in the world of open source hardware. Adafruit Learning System, more tutorials. Time Travel Tuesday. Wearable Wednesday, all sorts of things in wearables. 3D Thursday, we'll have new products. We'll answer your questions. We'll have a trivia question. We'll have Top Secret.
Ooh.
We'll show a cat. All that and more on Ask an Engineer.
We have another photo of the cat.
Yeah, we have another photo.
Watch the entire show so you can see this new,
yeah,
previously unreleased cat photo. Nobody has seen it. It is also top secret. It's not out.
Yeah.
Cat.
Lots of cool stuff. Lots of amazing products ahead and news.
So much news.
Yeah, we got
a
lots of
lot
stuff.
of people on vacation, but still, we're here.
Yeah.
We have news. We're going to give it.
Okay, let's first pay the bills. The code is NAIL.
NAIL.
10% off everything in the Adafruit store. The code is NAIL.
Including the CC3000, which was out of stock last week.
Yeah. Yeah, the CC3000 was out of stock, but now it's in stock, so now you can use this code and get this. The reason the code is NAIL is because we have a new product. It's an RFID nail. We'll talk about that soon. It's really cool. Yeah.
It's in here somewhere.
This old NFC house.
Yeah, nail.
Yeah.
Well, you know, drywall or something. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to track Bob Vila, you just like plug in one of these. Anyways, so let's get going. The show and tell was fantastic. Lots of cool folks. Lady Ada, what was on the show and tell?
The show and tell was so awesome. We had lasers and games and air pies. We started with Terry. Terry came back with her laser light show, which now has 3 games and sound effects, and she has like a serial port translator, so she can actually like run a bash shell on a Raspberry Pi via her laser raster vector display, and which is kind of cool. And I don't know how she did that, so I kind of want to find out, maybe look at her code. But yeah, all in like a Atmega 328 too, which is pretty impressive with 2 DACs. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like playing Vectrex games, but like on your wall. And then Lon came back, and he's working on that game show stuff. He's really into game show technology, and he's designing a game lockout button architecture. Because I guess, like, depending on if you press the button too early and you get locked out permanently, you have to make sure they don't get, like, buzzed in again. So anyways, he has this nice flow chart he was showing off. Tom came back, and he had previously shown us, like, a kind of a cobbled together Raspberry Pi weather board on, like, a breadboard and stuff with just wires. And then he actually designed a nice PCB, like a Pi plate type thing. And it has all these sensors, and it's available for sale on Tindy, so that's cool. So go check that out. And then finally, Peter showed up, and he actually came up with a kind of interesting idea. It was not electronic, which I kind of like. It was a whiteboard kind of a drawing book that didn't smudge the pages, and then had these like fiducials, but for a camera, so you could snap a photo, and the photo software would automatically crop and resize and rotate it.
A whiteboard notebook.
Yeah, a whiteboard notebook. He's like, he calls it his redneck iPad, which I actually kind of like it because I don't like writing or drawing on an iPad, and a whiteboard can make it really easy to get ideas out there. And then of course you can clean it very easily. Yeah. So I like that. So, 4 people, 4
also,
excellent projects.
The interaction with like physical objects, and phones are so smart now, you can do augmented reality stuff. I think we're gonna see more of that.
Totally.
So cool stuff. Okay, everyone who's on the show and tell gets as seen on the show and tell sticker.
That's right.
And what's neat is to see the projects that continue to evolve. Terry's project, kind of as a demo, and now it's evolving into a board. She might be doing some RGB lasers.
Yeah, she told me how you do RGB laser collimation. So go and watch that. You can find out how you collimate 3 red, green, and blue lasers to make full color laser drawings.
Okay, Lady Ada, how do people get on the show and tell?
Getting on the show and tell is really easy. Go to our Google Plus page at plus.google.com/+Adafruit and look for the post where I say comment here to get added to our circle. And once you're in our circle, you'll get invited. We have like 500 people, so you'll be part of a really cool group of people, guys. And then you and 499 other people will get invited every Saturday night at 9:30 p.m. And you get to show off your project. Show us up as many times as you want. Okay. Just have something cool.
Yeah, it's like a weekly.
Or not cool. It doesn't have to be cool.
Like
actually, I want somebody to show up with a real failure. I would be like, this thing caught on fire. Like, that would be cool.
No, there's been people that said, here's something that didn't work with a project, and they've done that. Hackaday has a series of project like failures. It's what's cool in the maker world. It's not like it's a professional engineering firm, like 5 companies that have to show up, and they can only show successes. Part of being a maker is sharing like tips and things about what didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty neat. Okay, some big news in the world of Adafruit. I think it's big news. We will be celebrating 4 years of Ask an Engineer.
That's right.
Next week.
You could have graduated college instead of what you know.
Yeah. So 4 years of Ask an Engineer.
Yeah, we're seniors.
Next week.
We're gonna graduate.
Yeah. So
we're gonna get a little cap.
And we have a special guest next week. Waz.
That's right.
Is going to be here.
Wazlets.
Waz is going to be here on the show. So mark your GCals, mark your iCals, mark your whiteboards, and then scan it into your phone, whatever it takes. Mark the calendar.
Write it on a sticky note and stick it to your forehead.
4 years of Ask an Engineer. That means basically for the last 4 years, we've always been doing this live show on Saturday nights.
I think we've only missed like 3 episodes or 4 episodes in 4 years.
I think it's like 2 or 3.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2 a year.
It's the longest running live electronics show.
I've totally done Ask Engineer while like sick with the flu.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah, we pumped you up with uppers and then later downers. You're like the Elvis of engineering
and by
shows.
uppers we mean just like coffee or iced tea or something.
Yeah. Okay. So that's coming up.
I can't afford the good stuff.
That's coming up. Next up, we posted this up on the show. I thought this was interesting and it was worth mentioning. So this is on MakeZine. MIT is now going to make it easier and have a process so you can submit your maker portfolio as part of the application process. Now, this is something we thought that would happen a long time ago because kids are doing Instructables. They're doing, we're having people do stuff on the Adafruit learning system. We have 300 guides now. It's not all written by you, yet we have other folks. They're doing their own tutorials out there. So as part of an application process, they're interested in seeing what projects are out there. So that is fantastic, I think. What do you think this is a good step for an admission process?
I'm so opinionated.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear this.
You want to hear my super opinionated opinion?
Yeah, I mean, we're here, we're doing the show.
When I was at MIT, there was a little bit of this like, like kids now, they don't make stuff anymore, and like it's like only like the old school MIT people like would actually hack on stuff. And there's always kind of this little doom and gloom of like kids these days. Yeah. And it's like there's actually more kids doing robotics, making stuff, building stuff. And the old dean of admissions, Marilyn Jones, did not like the kind of weird, freaky hacker makers that lived at like EC and Cedar House.
Yeah. So the folks with piercings and purple hair and just like didn't like the hackers.
She did not
Didn't like the hackers.
She said like we don't accept freaks like you anymore, right?
Okay.
So
but that's
not to.
Okay, that's the past.
But it's over.
That's the past.
I'm
so
saying
the
this
present.
is the new normal is the weirder, the better, the more creative, the more they're doing, and they are doing more, and like we won. Yeah. And she was kicked out of MIT, so it all worked out.
So I think this is interesting because if you look at how MIT is viewed, usually it's like, well, this is what technology schools want to be, or they want to kind of have similar things. Hack days are now common. Hacker spaces inside of schools. all the equipment like Arduinos, 3D printers, laser cutters is becoming the norm. This is exciting because the maker movement's been, it's like almost 10 years now, and I feel like this is a big milestone.
If you take away the hacking and making, there's no point to attending MIT because you can get everything on OpenCourseWare.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to. So you should only go for the culture because there's nothing out. There's only the people you're going to meet and the instructors and the students and the places you live. That's the only thing that matters now because everything is available online for free. Right? So what's left? You should go to a place where there's people who are like you, who like to build stuff and share their ideas and projects.
Yeah. Charles, who we had on the show not too long ago, he is like a prolific documentation person.
Yeah.
Every time he does a project, and I remember sending a note to Joe Ito about him, saying, "Wow, like this kid is like kind of, this is the way it should be. Like everybody publishing constantly."
There should be instead of like HASDs, they should say you have to document a project completely. Like a 20-page, instead of having a 20-page paper, document a project completely in 20 pages. Like, a really good project, not just like, oh, I built like an op amp or whatever, like the requirements they have that are not, you're like, you end up having to document like a kind of a boring like homework project. You should be documenting like a really intense like thing that you wanted to build, like a robot or like a walking bicycle or whatever. That's more interesting, and you'll actually get the communications requirements done. So that I would rather have a documentation requirement than an essay requirement.
I think for high school kids, if you're thinking of going into computer science, I think the new normal in the future is going to be when you apply to a school, they're going to say, "What's your GitHub repo?"
Yeah.
I mean,
what's your
I think,
Instructables account?
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, let's keep moving on. Good stuff.
Opinionated.
That's good. Some Arduino news. Every week we try to cover some cool things in the world of Arduino. I like the weeks where everything overlaps into different categories. It saves me a little bit of time with the show. We have a new guide in the Adafruit learning system.
Yay!
What is this guide, Lady Ada?
This was a guide to try to help people who were trying to figure out what shields that Adafruit makes are compatible with what Arduinos. And we have this information in the shield guides too, but we also wanted to have it in one place since we wanted to be able to refer people to like one URL when they kept asking, like, hey, what pins are used and what's compatible with what. So we went through every shield, or we're still going through every shield that Adafruit makes and testing it. Some of these shields were designed before like the Due or the Mega or the Leonardo, so like we didn't design them, like the Wave Shield was designed when there was only a Due Milanove out there. There was nothing else. So it doesn't work with some other Arduinos, but as we were designing new shields, one of the cool things is we're making them very backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So, you can use like the latest Motor Shield, Motor Shield version 2. Version 1 was designed a long time ago. Version 2, we designed to work with every Arduino and going backwards, and every Arduino going forward. It should be forward compatible. As long as they don't move the I2C pins, the 5-volt and ground pins, it should be forward compatible. So we're trying to, without having a lot of future knowledge about Arduinos, future protect all the shields to make them all work.
Yeah. Okay. Moving right along. Packet the mailbag. Here's Packet. Letters. We get lots of letters.
Do we have a song yet for him?
No. If anyone wants to make a Packet the mailbag song, last time I asked for a little tune, we got a composer.
We have a new
David Smith
tune.
made us a new product tune. So if you want a little Packet the mailbag tune, that'd be great. Letters, we get emails and posts and tweets and all sorts of things every single week on Adafruit. This is this week's letter. This is from Greg. It's been 25 years since I played with circuit boards and microcontrollers. Recently, I discovered your company, tutorials, and fun little devices like Arduino. Through your vision, I gained a brand new desire to learn and relearn more about microelectronics. My first project was to create a wireless microcontroller for my airport, rotating beacon, and runway lights. It worked great. It was so easy to get back into programming and hardware design, given your open source tools and philosophy. I just wanted to take a moment to say thanks. Well done.
Yay! That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I like when people take a hobby that they already have, and they're like, oh, well, I did like microcomputers or microelectronics in school like 25 years ago, and then they come back to it and they're like, oh my God, I can write code in C. Or like, wow, I don't have to like UV erase it for 25 minutes. This is great.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually enjoyable now.
Yeah, you don't get old because I'm going to mess up this quote.
Wow, you totally just
this quote, it's hard to do. It's a hard. You don't stop making because you're old. You're old because you stopped making. Yeah. Okay.
It's a jewel of wisdom.
That's a jewel of wisdom
You
from
heard
that.
it here
Okay.
first.
Next up, the Adafruit Jobs Board. Every single week we try to spotlight a job in the Adafruit Jobs Board. Adafruit Jobs Board free for everybody, and we screen every single one of these. They're only cool jobs in the maker world.
No lame jobs.
For makers that want to post their skills, or
no
for companies.
headhunters, no fakey fakes.
Or for companies who want to find makers.
And unlike LinkedIn, we don't charge anybody. So you
Yeah.
have to charge to
no
post.
spam, no nothing.
No charging to get a job.
Just makers.
Free jobs.
So this is American Woodwork Corporation. They want an electrical engineer, and this is in the Washington, D.C. area, and it reports to the corporate engineering manager. And they're looking for someone to design the electrical control system to support manufacturing operations in meeting and or exceeding established goals. So that's American Woodmark Corporation, looking for makers.
That's cool.
Next up, news in the world of open source hardware. Open source hardware summit coming up soon. Becky Stern is going to be speaking.
We're going to attend.
We're going to try to make it there. Hopefully it'll work out. But the big news, last week we tried to have Evil Mad Scientist Laboratories on our show and tell because it was their last day for their Kickstarter with Super Awesome Sylvia for the watercolor bot. But it was a full show and tell, so I don't think they were, I think that's what stopped them from getting on.
I don't know.
But they sent this really cool picture of, this is the watercolor bot, and it made an Adafruit logo.
That's so cute.
So they hit their goals. This is an open source hardware project. It hit their goals on Kickstarter. I think they got like $90,000. And so this is Super Awesome Sylvia, Evil Mad Scientist Laboratories. This is the watercolor bot. Super cool. Evil Mad Scientist Laboratories, check them out. They're one of our favorite maker companies out there.
And I'm sure it'll be available for sale if you missed the Kickstarter.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Adafruit Learning System. Almost 300 tutorials in the Adafruit Learning System.
I gotta get writing.
Yeah. Okay. We have a couple, and then there's a few others that I put in the rest of the show because it's in other sections. But here's a couple that maybe you could talk about.
We put in a color OLED 1.5-inch color OLED tutorial. We've already had this OLED in the store for a while, but now we have a lovely little tutorial on how to wire it and use it.
Okay. Next up.
We also put in.
This is the Beagle Bone. Yeah, I can zoom in here for you. This is the Python library.
We've updated to the Adafruit Beagle Bone IO, a BBIO library, which I have to remind people it is still alpha. Please do not use it for robotics that are carrying people around that could possibly get hurt if it malfunctions, guys. It's still alpha, but we have updated the PWM to be opposite polarity, and we also added a polarity notice in there. Anyways, alpha, kids, but please experiment and play with it. We hope to eventually get to beta once we feel like it's. Well, I still wouldn't use it for carrying humans around, but you could probably carry a stuffed animal. I'd be okay with that.
Okay. Next up, Time Travel Tuesday. On Tuesdays, we go.
Is the tutorial, the XMPP?
It's coming up one more.
Oh, sorry.
So, Time Travel Tuesday. Every single week we have things from the past. So, last year, this time, you know what we were doing? We were upgrading our laser. We took our laser apart and we made a 35 watt laser into a 65.
Our laser tube actually had died after
we use it so
5
much.
years
65 watt
of
laser.
use. The 30 watt laser head just eventually just died. They're like, it actually does after 5 years of use. We use it a lot.
Yeah, so we did this ourselves. We upgraded the laser. Epilogue, we bought one from Epilogue. They walked us through the process, and we installed it. That was 2012. 2011, we launched the iNecklace. That is our open source necklace that pulsates like an Apple power button.
It's cute.
Yeah. 2010, we released our series called The Big Build, and this is Theo Comanche's circuit board art that he is best known for as kind of being the pioneer of this. So do check out the Big Build section on Adafruit. We released that in 2010. 2009, Lady Ada, you were on Rocket Boom. Remember Rocket Boom?
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, and we had just purchased the pick and place machine that we just gave away now to NYC Resistor. So that was 2009. 2008, the Minty Boost was on Forbes. They actually had a little video on how to make a Minty Boost. This is when they first started getting into the maker world. 2007, you were working on the Arduino and the Minty Boost. This is around when you released them.
Yeah.
And what's cool is if you look at the past posts in the blog, this is when you were writing up, it was just you speaking as you were writing up stuff. Now we have like 30 posts a day and we have like authors and editors.
Yeah.
But that was just you by yourself writing up stuff.
The Lady Data blog, we did end up moving it we copied all the data over to Adafruit. So every blog, it's not like categorized, but it's all there back to 2006. I think.
Then in 2006, speaking of, you were getting ready for Burning Man, and here's one of the things you're working on. You're working on a bike stereo.
Yeah.
And you were working on the Dual Nature sculpture project.
Yeah. And
you were doing reflow in a toaster oven for all of your Burning Man projects.
I made the Dual Nature boards, which were, man, I wish the WS2812 LED pixels were around back then.
I remember at Burning Man, I was with you, and we had to go out there and fix them. And it was really complicated.
I made a chaining LED boards by hand. It was so unpleasant.
So that was Time Travel Tuesday. Look back.
Yeah.
The history of Adafruit.
Also really expensive. It's interesting. It's like now, then I bought these 10mm red LEDs, and they were like $1 each. Yeah. And now you can get like 10mm red LEDs for like 10 cents a piece. It's so cheap. If I was buying like 250 or 1,000. So it's interesting.
Times change.
There was you could only buy stuff from like DigiKey or Mauser.
Yeah.
There was eBay, like maybe if you were lucky, but not really.
Okay. Next up, Wearable Wednesday. Every Wednesday, everything in the world of wearable electronics. So things Flora related.
4-foot Flora.
Yeah. Or we're tiny, either one. So things in the world of Flora, things that are going on in the world of wearables, events. There's an event that we're a media sponsor for now called Glazed. It is the Glazed Conference, and it's in San Francisco, and it's September 30th. Adafruit is a media sponsor. Check it out. Lots of Google Glass stuff, lots of wearable electronics going on there. This was in Wearable Wednesday because it's so neat. Someone put all the skill badges that they've earned. These are the Adafruit skill badges that you can check out.
You can tell what they like to do.
Yeah, here's a bunch of them that you can get an idea from dumpster diving to oscilloscope to open source hardware to brewing to EagleCAD to Instructables, all sorts of fun stuff. And then this was also something that was on Instructables. Speaking of Instructables, this is a proximity tie that someone built with a Flora, and it keeps people away. It's 3D printed, 3D printed, and it lights up when you get a little too close. Another announcement, every Wednesday now at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern. It's a live video show.
How long is it?
It's a half an hour.
Wow.
And if you like wearable electronics, you like Ask an Engineer, like all the stuff at Adafruit, we have...
You want more?
You want more? We do a Wearable Wednesday segment, Component of the Week, Material Spotlight, and Q&A. And the cool thing about this is that it's recorded as well. So if you want to watch it right after this show, you can go do that.
Go for it.
All on YouTube, and we do it on YouTube Live. We answer your questions, all sorts of cool stuff. It's a new show. This is kind of our prototype of possibly moving Ask an Engineer to Wednesday nights. Okay. We've been talking about it. We're coming up on 4 years, so if you're not changing and adapting and doing things, you're dying.
Wednesday would be good, although I don't know how we do new products. Would it be like all the products from the previous week?
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Ooh. I think we can figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, next up.
That's my segment, so I care.
Yeah. Next up, we have a new project this week. Headphones that glow.
Rocket.
So, you'll be able to see
turn off the lights
them.
Afterwards.
Yeah, you'll be able to. You can see they're glowing. It's always hard when we have the studio lights here. If we only had a video that showed it. Oh wait, we do.
Okay.
Let's go to the video.
Just like the music we listen to, our headphones can be an expression of our personal style. And we found the perfect pair to mod. White, translucent plastic with plenty of space inside to spare. And today I'm going to show you how to add some sweet animated lights to these Skull Candy headphones with Flora, Adafruit's wearable electronics platform. First, carefully take apart one of the earphones. Adafruit's mini screwdriver set comes in handy for this, and we store all of the loose parts safely together until we need them again later. We used 7 Flora NeoPixels arranged and free-wired in a circle to fill the translucent plastic earphone with light, but you could easily use one of our new NeoPixel rings instead. Drill a hole in each earphone for a wire to connect between them. We also installed a power switch through one of these holes, since Flora's onboard switch will be hidden inside the earphone, along with the tiny LiPoly battery. You can grab the code and follow our complete tutorial on learn.adafruit.com to build your own LED headphones. Subscribe to the Adafruit channel on YouTube, and don't miss our weekly show on YouTube Live all about wearable electronics with me, Becky Stern.
Okay, 3D Thursday. Every Thursday we have the best list, source, news feed in the world of 3D printing. Anything that's going on in 3D printing, it's in one spot, hands down. You'll see everybody in the world start to consider Thursday is 3D printing day. That's it.
Okay.
Matt Griffin runs the posting on it.
It's excellent.
It's 3D printing overload.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just picked out a couple things from
Okay.
this week. Someone printed out all the Final Fantasy figures.
Tifa!
I knew you'd like this.
I love Tifa.
Yeah, so look at these beautiful
These are
3D,
intense.
and they're using color printing
Yeah,
too.
this is the Z
gorgeous.
Corp. Wait, go back. I want to see all the characters again.
Yeah,
And they didn't just do all the main characters. They did all the characters,
yeah, no,
which I
nice.
like, including like the bad guys too.
Yeah.
And the Moogles and the Chocobos and.
This is the future. What makers do on weekends will become mainstream later. People,
I think that's even Jack
kids
down
will
there.
modify the figures and
Yeah.
print them.
Intense.
Okay, next up, I wanted to show this. I don't know if we showed this before, but I thought it was worth revisiting if we didn't. This is Rick's Raspberry Pi case.
So the contests, right?
That's 3D printed. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
isn't
so
this cool?
cute.
Yeah.
And it's got a little the USB goes through and there's little
Yeah.
extensions and stuff. It's,
Okay. So speaking of
So
Raspberry
cute.
Pi, Friday is Pi Day. Another giant resource for people who like Raspberry Pi. Check out the blog on Fridays or just the Raspberry Pi category.
Pi. Lots pie.
I picked out a couple projects. This was just a fun one from the community. Someone used an old, what are you going to use with those old cassette tapes? Turns out it's a perfect case for a Raspberry Pi. So isn't that neat?
What does Mexcel sell now?
I don't know.
Well, they must sell something. They don't sell VHS tapes. They don't sell cassette tapes.
I don't think that'll be a trivia question, but maybe someone can look that
Okay.
up.
Well,
And then next up, we have a really cool, this is what you were asking about before, we have a really cool Raspberry Pi tutorial. The first one that I'm aware of Google Glass with Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. And actually, Di Ching wrote this. And I'm actually not, I don't understand it 100% because I don't understand XMPP that much, but XMPP is some messaging protocol, basically like a way to send messages between devices, which is actually not easy. It sounds like it should be easy. It's like, send email, but it's actually not easy unless it's if you don't want them to be through an email address, you just want to send data back and forth. And so he actually implemented that for the Google Glass using their API. He figured out how to do it with Google Glass, which nobody's done yet. So you can actually send data back and forth from Google Glass without having to go through Google's special API/App Store type thing. So you can basically control your Google Glass however you want. He signed up for the program and he got access to it. So this is kind of interesting. And so he's actually managing to take a photo via the Raspberry Pi can ask the Google Glass to take a photo because he authorized it to. So I think that's kind of neat because you can do remote control stuff. Sending data back and forth, you can send a message from your glass to an application that's running on another computer. And he has a little AppSpot app he wrote for the Google App Engine, so you can just pass your messages through there.
Yeah.
So you have a server for it.
Okay. Next up, Tony Sherwood, our senior dev here at Adafruit, launched his first Learn tutorial.
Yes.
And this is kind of neat. So if you're into cipher codes and one-time password things, maybe you can explain this. I took a couple photos, but it's a really neat. It uses the random number generator in a Raspberry Pi.
So there's a hardware random number generator in the Raspberry Pi, and you can access it probably through DevU-Random or something. And he basically made a one-time pad generator that uses the thermal printer. And the cool thing about this is that if you have one-time pads and you have one copy of it and the receiver has another copy of it, it is the only, if it's truly random one-time pad, and you only use one pad per message, it's the only truly unbreakable encryption you can use. I mean, this is assuming that nobody's watching you or listening to your messages or
I
whatever,
don't really think there's a giant organization looking at all of our email and doing that. That's crazy talk.
The bad news is you have to do this by hand. You can't use a computer.
Yeah.
So for the one-time pad, you use a piece of paper, and then you burn the one-time pad. That's the piece of paper he's
Yeah, or you could 3D print it, right?
Or you 3D print it, and yeah, I don't know exactly what. I guess that's a little.
Yeah, you
combo
could
thing.
3D print it, and I think like hide it or something like that.
I don't know exactly what this 3D prints up, but it's a nice photo.
Yeah.
So he showed how to use the Raspberry. He's like, I want to try building one of these with the Raspberry Pi. So it's cool because it actually prints it out, and then you tear it off and give one to your friend, and then you keep one.
Yeah.
And then you can send secret messages that nobody can crack.
Okay. Next up.
And you can do it by hand. You don't need any special math. You just you add, A plus A is B, A plus B equals C, A plus C equals D, whatever.
Yeah.
You convert to numbers and then back.
We're about to do new products, so let me just do the code.
Get the song.
The code is NAIL first before we get into the
Nail.
product. 10% off everything in the Adafruit store that's
Including
in stock.
nails.
Including nails, yeah.
Why'd you pick nail?
Because it's funny. Okay. It's new product time, Lady Ada. Here it is, and new product song, new product time, new product. Okay. So I have a couple updates before we. That's new product related. Real quick, we did an update to the CC3000 library.
Yes.
That is our Internet of Things.
Two things
board.
I added. One is I added fast printing. So the way we were doing printing before is we would send 1 byte per packet, which is as bad as it sounds. So now it sends a full string as a packet, so it's like 10 to 20 times faster for sending data, which should speed stuff up. I only released it with 1 byte per because it worked and I wanted to get it out there, but we've actually been trying to port a Twitter client to it. And to do that, we had to have it be a little bit faster for this board. We also added UDP and a UDP example connecting to NTP, Network Time Protocol, servers, pool.ntp.org to get the current time. It's actually pretty easy. You connect to NTP, send data, receive it. It's actually very lightweight, and you can get the current time, so you don't need a real-time clock. You can just keep track of it using Wi-Fi.
Next up, again, the Motor Shield is in stock, so I wanted to include this. So we updated the Motor Shield library.
Yeah, there's a reference now.
Yeah, there's a reference now, and this is our new version of the Motor Shield. This is Motor Shield 2.0.
Lovely.
Yeah, let me I'll get over there.
Here.
Yeah, look at that. This is our new Motor Shield. And I thought it'd be really fun to just show the Motor Shield since we just got a batch of these out of the pick and place machine.
Just show them
what it looks like. Yeah, this is what it looks like as they come out. So they come on these.
Okay, focus.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one day we should maybe get a light that doesn't.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
But yeah, you can see they come in a panel of 2x3. And we break them off and test them, and that's how they show up. They get pick and place 6 at a time.
Yeah, so that's a nice sheet of Motor Shields.
Yes.
All right. Next up, perhaps the star of the show tonight. It is this beautiful screen.
Yay.
Just look at the screen.
Yes, this is a nice screen.
I'm just going to go through this.
We did take some nice photos. We should take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And then you can always look at the large size photos. What's interesting is these are actually photos of the TFTs, are not photoshopped. Almost everybody else out there photoshops what the screen looks like. This is actually what it looks like.
And I want to show zoomed in. So the reason, these are gigantic photos. So when I zoom in, you'll be able to see. You
can see the pixels.
You'll be able to see the pixels. So.
The only thing is that because it's a real TFT, it's slightly wide.
Yeah.
It depends on how people see it on their screen.
Yeah, so let's go to the overhead.
Okay, so this is the screen, and I'm going to.
Yeah, so like over a video, like look how beautiful that looks. You can actually see it.
Yeah, that's a nice photo of a butterfly on some flowers. So it's a 2.2-inch TFT, but it's 320 by 240, so it's nice, fairly high resolution for such a small screen. I mean, it's not like a Retina display, but it's still pretty good. And on the back, we've got a micro SD socket, so you can store images on it. You can also just, display it, squares, rectangles, triangles, whatever we have in our GFX library is supported, and it's attached to a PCB, and then you can use SPI, 4 wires plus a reset pin, basically to control it. So there you go.
So what's the interface to control it?
It's 4-wire SPI.
4-wire SPI. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Nice little butterfly.
Yeah, look how great that looks. I mean, it's stunning. This is I think one of my favorite new products.
You can go really close and see the pixels.
Yeah, you might have to zoom in a little bit so it focuses. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty good angle too. I mean, it's not IPS, but it's pretty good.
Someone wants to know, is there any easy to use graphic driver chips that would allow animations on that screen?
You can do animations. It's just SPI. I mean, you have to use hardware SPI. You can do animations. It's just you have to have a processor that can handle it. But it's not for this. It's designed for basically like basic graphics with an Arduino. If you want to do video, get a Raspberry Pi and a TV.
Okay.
The best thing to do.
All right. Next up, look at this little heating pad.
It's so cute.
Look at this thing. It's this little thing that heats up things.
Yeah, in fact, I've even plugged it in.
Yeah.
And it's heating up right now. It's actually made by like the same company that makes our like LED ribbon that we use, and it's a stainless steel fiber. Oh, there you go. It's a stainless steel fiber that's woven into like a gauze, which is whatever, not probably not cotton. It's like a polyester gauze, and. That over here. So you can see there's a sort of a weave. You can see my hand through it, but there's still like this weave of metal, and you just basically power it, and it's just a metal that's heats up effectively, but doesn't get so hot. The resistance doesn't change. It's very stable. So when you give it 5 volts, it draws about like half an amp to an amp, and it heats up. Depending on the voltage.
Is it contained in something that's water resistant?
This is, it's kind of, it's in Kapton tape, which is thermal. It's not waterproof. I wouldn't dunk this under water, but it's fine for like basic use.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in a wet environment at all. But, if you want to do that, there are, you'd get like a plastic, completely encased, like UL listed heater. This is just for basic heating applications. So, got and you can wrap it around stuff, which is nice. So I can wrap it around here and see it getting heated up. So it's a little warm.
So you could use this and a temperature sensor to turn it on and off to control it. You could.
Yeah.
High altitude ballooning, folks use this to keep components from freezing.
Yes, this gets up to like with 5 volts. It seems to get up to like 40 C or so.
Yeah.
You can calculate that out in Fahrenheit if you want. Basically, it's flexible. You can use it for wearables. You can run it off a couple batteries. It does use a little bit of power, but it's just kind of like if you want to heat something up, it's inexpensive.
Yeah.
It's
Could I put a bunch of those in a jacket and a Minty Boost and warm myself up?
Yeah, you don't even need a Minty Boost. I would just use like 3 or 4 AA batteries.
Wow.
And just connect it direct. I mean, there's no reason to have a boost converter because it doesn't really matter what the voltage is. You can actually run up to 12 volts.
Yeah.
If you have 12 volts, it actually gets a little painfully hot.
Okay.
So it can run up to 12 volts, but I wouldn't put it against skin at 12 volts because I was playing with that and I was like, ow, this is like really toasty.
Every winter I go to this big event called Freezing Man.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of Antarctica. And
No, they have a Freezing Man.
Do they really? Oh, I was just making that up.
No, there's one.
Okay.
It's really cool. I haven't attended one.
Yeah. Does a snowman melt at the end, or does it?
No,
if it's the opposite, it gets bigger, right?
It's on a. I'm trying to remember if it's on a. It's like an ice lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep moving along here. All right. So next up, we have some RFID stuff.
Yeah.
I'll keep it on the overhead. We have these little leather RFID things.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I can show this off.
These are very cute.
It's just a RFID tag, but encased in a little leather key fob. I just thought it was kind of nice.
You could laser etch
You
this.
can laser engrave these. We
Yeah.
had them non-engraved, so you can engrave them as you want.
What type of RFID tags are in here?
These are all MyFair Classic 1Ks. So these work very well with our RFID stuff, our NFC shield. You can write to them. They have a unique ID, a 4-byte ID. This is a nail version.
Yeah, we're going to get to the nail now.
Well, I mean, it's the same. It's basically the same idea that says the.
Okay, but these are super weird and cool because they're nails. Okay.
You just love these nails.
Yeah, this is a neat idea. So you could go and put these all over the place through drywall, and
or the ground. I was thinking
or the ground.
Geocaching or something.
Yeah, geocaching. You can do all sorts of things.
I'll probably put them in a plant or something. I'm not exactly sure what they're for, but yeah, they're basically this. nail. I mean,
When you have RFID nails, everything in the world looks like an RFID hammer. No. Mixing up my quotes tonight a little bit.
Yeah, this has the My Fair tag as the head.
Yeah.
So that's why it has like a large kind of like hammery surface here. It's actually the tag itself, which you can kind of see. And that is the head of the nail. And that's the same exact thing that's inside here too. So, they just pop it out and they put it in this leather key fob.
Yeah. If you were like a super spy, you could put these on the road and then the car would get tagged and then you would get the diamonds back before the code is needed, or I don't know. All right.
Been reading too many one-time pad
Yeah.
tutorials.
All right, next up. We've got these big LCD panels.
LEDs.
Sorry, LED panels. At what point does an LCD turn into an LED? Just when it gets a certain size?
Totally different technology.
Because if you got a bunch of them together.
Well, LCDs usually have LED backlights.
Yeah.
But it's a different thing. The LCDs turn on off to let light through.
Yeah, these are beautiful photos.
Yeah, these are great photos.
Okay, so let's try to put this on the overhead. I don't know what's going to happen here. Okay.
I have 2 pieces of paper.
Oh, yeah, there's another piece of paper right here, right underneath.
Can you grab it?
Yeah, here you go.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to diffuse that.
So here is you can see it flickering because it's the refresh rate's colliding with the refresh rate of the camera. It's not actually flickering. Well, I mean, it is, but humans can't see it.
Yeah.
But it's 32 by 32 pixels, and it's full RGB, and it's fairly large. It's larger than the other 32 by 32 we had, although it's the same wiring and everything. But it's less expensive because it's less dense. Those are extremely common. So it's only like $75 for 1,024 RGB LEDs, which is a pretty good deal. And you can kind of, this is running actually on an Arduino, and you can kind of draw basic graphics and stuff with an Arduino on this. Technically, they can be chained. On the back, there is...
We call this one the Rave Death Star.
Yeah, there's an input and an output on each one, and technically they can be chained, although an Arduino does not have enough memory for it. Maybe a Dewey would, but we haven't ported the code, so you can see the arrow. So they can be chained. They can be used with our LED driver core that we have in the store. It's a little expensive, but it has the FPGA stuff on it to drive a couple dozen of these each way. It can do 1,000 by 700 pixels, so that's divide by 32. It's a lot. It's like a couple hundred panels, I think, of these guys, and it's a lot of pixels. And on the back, there's little drivers. You have to PWM them by hand, so yeah, you do need a fairly good processor to do so. But again, we have Arduino code ready, and some people have written code for the propeller. We have some FPGA example code. I think also somebody wrote for the DEO Nano. So it's if you want to play with these, you can do it with a microcontroller. Just you can't control more than one panel at a time. If you have an FPGA, you could do multiple panels. Yeah. If you're
that's how the store displays work and all these big walls, right?
Yeah. So yeah, each one of these little guys is an RGB LED.
That's cool.
Lots of LEDs. So yeah, it's like people were asking, why don't you have an 8x8 LED matrix thing? And I'm like, man, for the same price, I can just you can get this gigantic display. This is huge. And this is also used in, we have a Bluetooth yo-yo thing that uses a display this size. So these are kind of cool. And the fact that they're using all these gigantic LED walls means it's not too expensive to have these in the store.
Okay.
For individual.
That was new products, Lady Ada. That was new products. That's what new products look like.
Carrie, hold this up.
Yeah, we're gonna do that right now. Oh, look at that.
I can kind of see it.
Yeah, and I can.
No,
that doesn't help.
no.
That doesn't help that much. It's too bright. It's too bright.
It looked good under the overhead though. Anyways.
Okay, we're gonna do. It's not out yet.
Colors.
We're gonna do top secret products right now.
Yeah, sure.
It's not out yet. Don't ask. And then we're gonna get to some engineering questions. Lady Ada, what new products are you working on that will be released soon that you can't ask questions about?
Well,
yet, folks?
the first thing I've got is I have an 8x8. Whoa, it's totally shoved in here.
Do you want to turn that off and I'll take it out of the bag?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't know why they put it in a bag that's exactly the same size.
Yeah.
That's my luck. You can just cut that also.
Yeah. It's like a prize.
Just rip it in half.
It's a prize.
Yes, we got an 8x8 version of the NeoPixel Matrix. We have a Shield version, a Ring version, and now we have an 8x8 version. So this is the first one we made. We have a tester and everything ready to go. So hopefully we'll be picking and placing these next week.
Yeah.
We have like a huge box of reels of
Lots of people
NeoPixel
wanted
leaves.
these. They want to make cubes. They want to do all sorts
Yeah,
of cool
we
things.
thought it'd be kind of fun. You could actually like put a little like Arduino micro inside, and it would be an LED, little mini LED cube.
Yeah.
I don't
you
know.
could put an accelerometer in there and do
I
all
don't know
sorts
what
of
you
things.
do, but yeah, you could.
Okay,
You
so
could
that's
do
coming
it.
soon. What else,
Coming
Lady
soon.
Ada?
We also have the CC3000 Shield.
Okay, so this is our Internet of Things Shield.
Yeah.
And it's the CC3000. It's Wi-Fi. Our term for our Internet of Things products is probably going to be IOTA, Internet of Things by Adafruit.
It's up for debate.
It's up for debate
We're
internally
still-
right now.
Yeah, we're still. I like it, but it's.
Yeah. So the
It's too close to
CC3.
like Nano and Pico. And
Yeah, the CC3000. We sold out every time we put them in. We sold it instantly. We just put some in, so get them
They
now.
changed the look of it. It like this one. It doesn't have the TI logo, but it has the SEC ID on it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So this is the new Shield, and this will go on top of a Arduino.
Yes.
And it'll make your Arduino
So you
Wi-Fi.
have Wi-Fi, SD card, reset button, power supply, logic level shifter, and you need a little
SD card too, and you
Yeah,
give them
and
an
then-
SD card.
antenna, and then we'll probably make a version that has a UFL connector instead of
Yeah.
antenna. I wanted to get the version with the antenna out first, and we're still getting feedback from people on the CC3000, like adding UDP and stuff. So it's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Not ready for everybody yet, but we're getting there.
We had I guess the right term is a muckety muck, like an important person from TI here. Lots of
Yes.
things in store.
Mr. TI, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ken.
Yeah, we had some folks here from TI.
Yeah.
Really great folks, and we're working on a lot of cool things.
Yeah, we have their attention now.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff coming. So those are the two new products that are.
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be
gonna
coming
see
soon.
if they can get us stuff early, such as the CC3001
Yeah.
and some LVDS
Yeah.
HDMI driver things.
For the Internet of Things stuff, one of the folks in the chat room mentioned this because I thought it was clever last week too. Adafruit.11.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
that
a
was
good one.
that was top secret products coming out shortly.
I don't want to get in trouble with the like IETF though.
Okay.
IEEE.
We're gonna do questions now.
Okay, you do. You
Yeah,
do questions.
I'm gonna
Give me
start.
that root beer.
I'm gonna start.
Give it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start
Okay.
doing these. Okay, Lady Ada. First question is. I'm going to scroll up a little bit, but feel free to ask him. I purchased the LiPo 2600 milliamp hour. Is it okay to use a tiny USB charger rather than the larger, fancier one?
You can use any LiPo charger that we have in the store with the big batteries. It's fine. The only thing to watch out for is if you're charging a teeny battery, that's when you want to make sure that you're not overcharging it. You can never really undercharge these batteries. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
It just takes a longer, but our little microcharger, it's like, especially if you solder the bottom, so it's 500 milliamps. So, it'll charge it up in like 5-6 hours. It's still good, and it's actually a little bit better for the battery. You want to charge them. It's better to charge your battery slow.
Yeah.
For the battery chemistry, it'll make it last a little bit longer.
Can you control the heating of the heating pad with a pot?
You cannot control the heating pad of a pot with the pot directly because the heating pad is a resistor, and you'll end up you would have to have a gigantic potentiometer. Instead, you would use a transistor just like you would PWM a gigantic LED. You wouldn't want to dim an LED with a potentiometer that was like a 5-watt LED. It's like you need a gigantic potentiometer. They don't really. I mean, they probably do make them, but it's like $5-6, not worth it. You're better off using a transistor to do the switching and PWM it, and you can use a 555 if you don't want a microcontroller, or you can use a microcontroller. Either way.
Okay. Next up, are we
You
using?
could use a potentiometer to adjust the current going into the base of a transistor if you know how to bias a common emitter amplifier, like a current source or a current sink. You could do that. That's kind of a little bit more advanced. So unless you're like, wow, I'm totally excited about making a model current sink NPN transistor, just go with the 555 or microcontroller.
Okay, next up. The question was, are we using our USB microscope for the overhead camera? No, we're actually using 2 of the identical cameras.
We got for free.
Yeah.
We stole them.
The
No,
thing
not
is,
for free.
the microscope would be good for close-ups, but then we can't move it farther.
We can only have 2 cameras.
Yeah, and even though Wirecast, the software that runs all this, allows multiple cameras, the camera that's the other source that this looks at is the camera built into the Mac, and then the USB soundboard. So we're actually maxed out.
It's totally maxed. We
Yeah.
can't. We really wanted to have the microscope, but we just.
Yeah. If we
We
do a
couldn't do
show
it.
that's just overhead for close-ups, then we switch, but we
Yeah.
can't do that. Okay.
It's one of
next
those
up.
things. It's like if we had like a gigantic, crazy studio, like that would be
Yeah.
like something we get, like a video mixer and shit.
Okay, next up, internships at Adafruit. We don't do unpaid internships at all. We've always been against that, and now it turns out the rest of the world is agreeing that unpaid internships is not good. But we do pay people to work here. So if you're fantastic and you're doing cool stuff, you're publishing online, and you would like a job here, that's the way we do it.
Yeah.
So our one of our folks that is a EE is just going back to school. Their summer break he spent here, and he was in the fabrication department. And he actually was a mechanical engineer, and then decided to switch to be an EE after being around all this stuff. That maybe wasn't all the reason, but some of the reason. Okay, next up.
I like converting people from Mechie to EE.
Want to
More
see?
people on our side.
Want to see if it's for capacitor coming out? Working on it. Next up, is there a case for the Raspberry? Is a case for the Raspberry Pi necessary, or is it just for looks?
Just for looks.
No, that's not true.
No, it's
a
fine.
case for the Raspberry Pi. So if your kids are carrying these around in backpacks and going to school with them
It's
and everything,
protective.
yeah. So
It's not necessarily for functionality. It does work without one.
yeah,
But it's for protection and
yeah. If
and
a
also
if a Pi drops off
fashion.
the table, that's not a great
Sad.
thing. People put these in their living rooms, and they want more than just a circuit board hanging out.
Yeah,
so.
you don't want it to be like touching anything that could be conductive. Something spills on it. The SD card could come out
Okay.
more easily.
Next up, if you could recommend 3 things for an EE student toolbox to help them survive college, what would they be, Lady Ada?
Pair of calipers, like the Nintendo are really good. Good multimeter. The X-Tech 330 we have in the store, or the Pocket multimeter. Actually, I'm sort of biased for the Pocket multimeter now because they'll keep that, and then a really good wire stripper, like the Hacko professional wire stripper we have. A little more expensive than like the cheapy wire strippers, but if you're going to be using it in lab for 3 hours a day, like every other day, you really want to have a good one.
Okay, next up, I've seen the LiPo batteries and shields, etc. What's the difference in lithium-ion batteries and how to use with Arduino?
The difference between what?
I've seen the LiPo batteries and shields, etc. What's the difference in lithium-ion batteries and how to use them with Arduino? Okay, let's skip this one for now.
Sorry, there's a difference.
How would you prototype a board with a lot of SMD components? I don't want to, can't do some of the SMD soldering.
If you're doing SMD soldering, you can use SMD breakout boards. We have some in the store. Some big SMD parts like 1206s, you can actually kind of place on top of perf board and solder them in place. But for like SOICs, TSOPs, TQFPs, you'd use like a surface mount to through-hole converter and then just practice and wick.
Okay. Next up, your 1 watt LEDs that are mounted on a heatsink. Is that flashlight bright?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it hurts to look at them.
Okay. I've used your Ethernet tutorial to get files off a SD card. Any quick thoughts on sending files to Ethernet Shield and SD card?
There's probably a tutorial out there somewhere. I haven't written it, but I'm sure there's one out there somewhere.
Okay.
Or you can just take the SD card examples and the Ethernet examples and just work it out yourself.
Gotcha.
Probably isn't too hard.
How many of the Adafruit libraries are going to be ported to the Due's SAM 3X8E?
Well, we have a tutorial that we just posted up that has a list of what shields we have that work with the Due. Porting stuff to the Due is not a really high priority for us. Our priority is to support everything on the Arduino Uno because it's the most popular Arduino by far. Most people have it.
Yeah.
It's the easiest to use, and if it works for the Uno, it should be portable to the Due. Thing is, Arduino's coming out with like 2 or 3 new Arduinos per year now, and we have 150 GitHub repos.
Yeah.
So if you do the math, it's just it's a kind of a bit of a game. We try to make it as easy as possible for them to be portable or back compatible, but there's some things that just aren't going to work on the Dewey. If it does work with the Dewey, we say so very clearly. Otherwise, it's kind of try it out, see if it works.
Okay,
Right?
next up. Any plans to create optical isolators?
No, I think you can pretty much get an optocoupler or something from DigiKeyer Mauser. It's like the 6N138's probably fine.
Okay. This was the clarification of that question. What's the difference between LiPo and Li-ion?
Lithium polymers are softer than lithium ions. They come in a silver pack. Lithium ions are usually hard pack. For the detailed chemical differences, check out Wikipedia. There are slight differences in what I think the materials used in the anode and cathode. It's basically what packaging is used.
Okay. Is there a good service to pick and place components similarly cheaply for prototyping PCBs?
Yes, tweezers and a hot plate.
Okay.
Very cost effective.
Okay.
You get tweezers for like $5.
Okay, how can I get more sensitivity of the IR sensor, like the Wii remote or something?
If you can, if it's a digital sensor, whatever sensitivity you can get is what you can get. I don't think it's incredibly sensitive. You might have to spring for a specialized sensor if you need something more precise.
Okay. Next up, are we working on a NeoPixel LED strip tutorial?
We're working on a general purpose NeoPixel tutorial that would cover all of the different shapes and strips that we have, since we now have like 10 different products that use NeoPixels in them.
Okay. Next up, is it possible to hook up many greater than 20 sensors to a Raspberry Pi via GPIO?
You can connect 8 analog sensors to analog digital converter, and those take like 3 pins, so you can multiply that out. You could probably, if you share SPI pins, you could probably connect like 64 plus analog sensors using analog digital converters. You can connect as many I2C sensors as you want, as long as they all have separate addresses, which is difficult. You can also use GPIO expanders for other stuff. You can connect a lot, you just have to be smart about it.
Okay, next up. The adjustable Pi camera shows 5 mini screws, 1 spare, but only 4 holes. The 2 pieces, they're 2 pieces of plastic. Should they be glued to stay on top to stop any wobbliness?
That's a Pimaroni thing.
Yeah, folks at Pimaroni make that. They're super receptive. You can ask them why they decided to do that, and you can just go to pimaroni.com. I think they have forums as well.
I remember mine just kind of came together, and I don't remember how I did it, but I think maybe I'll use 2 screws even.
Okay. Next, is there any service better, cheaper than OSH Park for prototyping PCBs?
It's a good one for US-made PCBs. I think it's kind of the it seems to be premier at this time. Yeah, I mean I don't use them honestly because I need much higher speed, so I'll actually go with a much more expensive but much faster service.
Yeah.
I end up spending about $400 for a prototype because I need them in like a couple days, not a couple weeks.
Okay, 2 last questions. I'm gonna answer these. Arduino Robot and Arduino Yun. We have to wait until the Arduino team and distributor, their team, allows us to sell them. We don't have them. Email and contact Arduino and say you love shopping in Adafruit and you like getting all your Arduino stuff from us. I just don't think they have them.
Until they get clearance for us to buy them, we're not permitted to buy.
Yeah,
our account is not permitted to buy them, and we can't do anything about that.
I think they've only had a few for Make at Maker Faire for the bot, and the Yun's not out yet. But if you want to see those type of things stocked at Adafruit, it's always helpful if you guys email them, contact them when you see them.
I can't do anything. I ask them, hey, can we buy you? And they're like, no, I can't do anything about it, really.
Okay.
Not
and
my
then,
choice.
One last question. This is just going to be for you.
For me?
Yeah.
Good.
Any recommendations on how to start making your own PCBs?
I would actually start with something like a permaproto unless you really need to make a custom PCB. If you absolutely need to make a custom PCB, you can start etching with ferric chloride, but it's just like you need you kind of need to get a bunch of equipment. You need to get a tank, and like a heater is kind of a good idea, and like you need press and peel, and I mean you can do it, but using something like a permaproto will get you pretty far, and it might be a little chunkier than you want, but you might have less problems. A lot of people have a difficult. I mean, it's a skill that you have to gain to get really good quality. But if you do want to, there's a lot of kits out there you can buy, and they're like ready to go. You know, DIY. You know, just add water, and you can make your own ferric chloride etching kit.
All right, that was the questions. Good work, Lady Ada.
Yay.
Okay, next up, trivia question. We're gonna get this going pretty fast. Lady Ada, what are the rules?
If you've won before, you're not allowed to win another project, another present. So sit on your hands or have a sandwich or something. Only brand new non-winners are allowed to enter. And the first person to type in the correct answer will get the prize, which is a 2.2-inch TFT.
Yeah, you guys are lucky because I said box of RFID nails. And
Not
she
a
said
box
no.
of RFID nails.
And Lady Ada said no. I'm like,
I'm like, away a box of nails.
a box of nails.
No.
RFID nails, though. All right, fine.
You get a 2.2-inch TFT, which is super handy.
All right.
Works with Arduino, and I think that might eventually end up working with a Raspberry Pi. Some people working on that too.
Okay, first person to type in the chat, what is the megahertz of the Wi-Fi nails?
The resonant frequency.
Yeah, what is it? Type it in the chat.
Resonant frequency.
And you get the thing. I'm still sticking to the trivia question having something to do with the nails.
The answer is not nails.
Yeah.
Remember, you can't win if you've already won.
Pretty easy. Just go to the product page.
Very suspicious that there's people who are double winning on.
Yeah, you can go to the product page of the nail page and just type in
resonant frequency.
the resonant frequency.
And type in the whole thing.
Yeah. It's a number. It's the title of the product. I'm surprised folks haven't got it.
This is cool.
Yeah, I know.
It's not nail. Nails.
No one got it yet. They're typing this number, but that doesn't seem to be the right number.
I don't think so. Can you go to the product? Is the product up?
Yeah, it's right there. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nail.
I know. Okay. George IOK. You got it. Congratulations, George. Email support@adafruit.com.
It's 13.56 megahertz. That's the resonant frequency. There's a little coil inside, and when you blast it with 13.56 megahertz waves, it will actually react, and so that's how it gets energy from the RFID reader antenna, and then that's how it responds as well. It's cool.
Okay. Here's MOSFET, but then we got a new photo. So he crawls up on my shoulders now and just hangs out and looks around.
This is really weird.
Yeah, so there he is. It's his new little trick.
He just kind of like, he jumps up.
Yeah, when I lean down, he'll jump up on top of my shoulders and just hang out.
And he just sits there.
He just likes to look around.
And he looks around.
Yeah, so
and,
that's MOSFET.
Sometimes he rubs up against your chin.
Yeah, he'll like, does that. Okay.
You have like nice wide shoulders. There's plenty of cat surface area.
Yeah.
Probably some cat to here.
Cat surface area.
He does it to me too, but I don't have such broad shoulders. It's not as comfortable. I'm like bonier.
Okay, that was tonight's show. Don't forget, next week, Amanda Wozniak is going to be on the show, celebrating 4 years of Ask an Engineer. Thank you, everyone who's in the show and tell. The show and tells are awesome. Thank you, everyone in the live.
Keep it hot.
The live studio audience out there in Ustream and YouTube land. This show is also recorded. It'll be going up shortly, and we also post it up on Tuesdays.
How is the YouTube and Ustream? Is it working out?
Yeah, I think I've got it down.
You got it down?
I think I've got it down. And then we've added the Wearable Wednesday, the wearable show with Becky, and so far, no problems. I sent a bunch of bug reports to Wirecast, and they fixed stuff, so that was good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the thing with the thing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to keep doing it over and over again.
I don't have to authenticate Ustream 3 times to get it to work.
Okay.
That's nice.
All right.
Just like 2 times. Okay, we will see everybody next week.
Cheers.
Here is your moment of Zener.